they fill out a long questionnaire, which they really complain about. A lot of them complain about this questionnaire, which has been picked up by other parties now, and unions. Unions and the AFL are starting to pick up on this questionnaire. And they answer a lot of questions. And then they come into our chapter, and we have meetings with them, and we take them one at a time, and we go over their questionnaire.
It's actually something I'm very proud of, is our questionnaire. Hey, look, we understand that people can just write down what we want to hear, and so that's also why we do have the interview process as well. So, and like you said, people complain all the time about the lengthy questionnaire. It's complicated, there are a lot of difficult questions in there. And I don't want to say complicated, it's not that complicated, the actual basic.
What I liked about it, but what I could also see would be difficult for some people running for office is you actually ask people to take opinions on tough issues. And if you're not going to do that, why are you running for office?
Right.
Well, I feel if you're not going to take the time to look it up and investigate, if you don't know, like folks that will call me up and tell me, I don't care about the Triborough Bridge, so the Triborough Amendment doesn't apply to me. It's not in my territory. Or, that'll indicate a kind of candidate. But if they do take the time to look up all the different things, because sometimes you do have to look them up. And it's not like we don't provide resources. We say, look, if you don't even know what this means, here you go. You can read up on it a little bit, just to kind of make sure that we provide context that they can use to fill out the questionnaire. I mean, we don't give them the answers. It's pretty clear if you just take a look at our website what we believe in. So if we ask a question about campaign finance reform, you pretty much know where we stand, but we try to make sure that we elicit answers that are going to be honest. And another part of that, of course, is the interview process. So, I get the questionnaires, and we send out the questionnaires in May, or make it available on the internet. People fill them out, send them to me, and then I go about organizing different interview committees in different areas. Because the other idea here is we want to make sure we have local folks making local decisions as best as we can. We obviously don't have folks like the Democrats do. Like they have Democratic committees in every small town, hamlet, or village. We don't quite have that, but we do have enough folks spread around that we can get a local perspective on our endorsements. And that's a big part of why we do the interview process. We get that local input. And so folks like Pat Welsh, and other members of our chapter.
The local people on the interview committee they get a lot of weight when it comes to the decision.
Right.
So the people who live in Mamaroneck and Rye, they have a lot of weight on a decision of the county legislator from this area. Right. They carry a lot of weight in the room when we take a vote. So that's why we can actually bring the local people more into it.
Right.
And I got to say that the Work and Families Party, the main offices in Brooklyn, attracts a lot of young people out of college, and they're so darn dedicated to this party. It's really unbelievable. And they do such great work. And that interview process to make up those questions and to put all that out on the webpage and everything, it's just so much work.
But I just want to point out, too, I've done the process, and, I think, I don't want people to think that they have to have every answer right.
No.
Because I think there were times when I didn't always fit into exactly, and that's just, you look at the totality of who the person is. You're not looking for, total doctrinaire, but, because we all can't agree on everything.
Right.
But
that's worked out at the interview.
Yes, it is.
Well, question, well, why did you put no for this, or why did you not answer this?
Yes.
And then they can explain themselves at the interview.
Yes.
And how many people did we interview last November?
In Westchester alone, Westchester Putnam, I should say, I think at least 120, probably more. 120, 130, just over the couple of months. So it's quite the effort, because we're talking about, and we're growing. We made over 1,000 endorsements this year statewide, not just in my territory, so to speak. I think we've done about 450, 500 in my area alone.
And Pat has a day job, too.
And I couldn't have done it without him, actually.
Exactly.
It's quite a feat to get it done.
People don't realize that when you're involved in local politics and you're involved in politics, 95% of us at this level have day jobs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so this is an avocation that really takes a lot of your life, and it's so good to hear about young people getting involved, because it's so easy to get disillusioned. Because you look around the world, and it just seems like a regular person's voice doesn't matter anymore. But that's what they want you to think. Yeah. They want you to go home and just accept whatever they're giving. So it's nice to hear that young people are.
As an example, Shelley Silver was a proponent of the minimum wage. He was there with us on a lot of issues that we asked him to, and of course he controlled the assembly, the Democratic Assembly, and like you said, the Democratic Assembly was for your bill for the elevator operator technicians, and also for a lot of the things that we wanted, and then to be so, and to see him taken down like that, and rightfully so.
Definitely rightfully so.
Is really so depressing in so many ways. It's just that, there's a person that you thought was actually, trying to do something.
Do the right thing. And in some respects, I mean, like what? At the end of the day, you look at the totality of somebody's life, and you add it up, and that's for a higher power than us to do. But it's just sad that you're around the money so much, and I guess you figure it's like, well, if I just take well,
how much is enough?
How much is enough? Yeah.
I don't think some people know that answer.
Some people don't know that answer.
And what's strange is that the wealthy people in this country don't seem to understand that if you treat people correctly and you give them enough money to buy stuff, that you will benefit in the long run from it. In the long, I mean, you'll make even more money than trying to steal what little that the poor people have now. And trying to steal people's Social Security and their Medicare. I mean, you'll get even richer if you just leave them alone and give them decent.
If the minimum wage goes up to $15 an hour, that money gets right away spent.
Absolutely.
And locally, down the road.
Exactly. And I don't want to do any endorsements here, but a person who's made that a political issue nationwide has been Bernie Sanders.
Right.
And I think his candidacy has given a lot of people a lot of hope. Because it's obvious the guy, if you like him, you don't like him, he's saying what's on his mind. Right. You have no, there's no idea that he's saying it because of how a focus group told him to say it, or how he is what he is, and you gotta love him for that.
Well, he's been like that since the '60s.
Exactly. He's been singing the same song for 40 years, so it's not like he's just making this up to get elected.
So
this is what he really believes.
I can go along with him with that. I've been doing the same.
Yeah, exactly.
It was part of my political formation. I was, I think, like 20 years old, 21 when the Iraq War.
Okay.
And I still remember, and right off the bat, I was living abroad at the time, and I'm thinking to myself, this seems like a mad idea. It seems like a really, and I'm bad idea, that too, but also just a mad idea. Like, why would we go this far to take out a guy that didn't have anything to do with what we're
9/11,
So, anyway, I had my own questions, and I just remember seeing like the whole country moving one way, and I thought, well, maybe it's because I'm not there right now. I was living abroad. Maybe it was just because I'm not getting something. But then I remember hearing it. They did a vote. They did the resolution. I don't remember the details, but I just remember Bernie's speech.
Yeah.
And that is when I heard a senator, I think he was a senator, it was a senator at the time, that's exactly what it was, really speak truth to power and was very clear and eloquent about it. And that got me excited. I said, look, there are people out there that they're fighting the good fight. And, frankly, there are people that are worth believing in. And so, that are willing to take brave stands.
Yes.
And I think, the idea that Pat brought up that somehow that young people think all politics is controlled by the wealthy or by outside forces is a mistake, especially at the local level. What people don't understand is at the local level, there are opportunities, really, not to put too fine a point on it, but, you too can run for office.
I'm a living example of that.
Exactly.
Who would have thunk it?
Yeah. You don't need to be. I mean, yes. I mean, I'm not going to lie. You want to be, a senator or.
Well, that ship sails for me,
but
maybe for yourself. Then.
Oh, no, thank you. I'm more than happy doing it behind the scenes, working in politics. But yeah, those are obviously expensive offices, unfortunately. But the local offices, what also young people don't understand is local electeds have a lot of influence.
They do.
They really do. They are not weak or impotent, all just waiting for the congressman to tell them what to do. And if they band together and work together, have solidarity, then they can actually even bring it, go further. Provide as much pressure as the money interests do, or maybe not as much, but
you could at least be a counterweight.
A counterweight, exactly.
You know what I mean? I think Pat said it best. Speaking truth to power. You just said actually speaking truth to power. It's, what? I'm a union worker. Pat's a union worker. What we have in this country is our voice. We're never going to be rich. We might make a comfortable living, but if we don't use the voice when we see something wrong going on, how do you explain that to your kids 20 years from now, when there are no more unions? Mm-hmm. When the world is burned up because we didn't take action. You know, that's what I always look at. You know, at the end of the day, you know, even serving in elected office, at the end of the day, I feel like, you know, I'm making decisions now, but I have to think about how these decisions are going to affect people 20 years from now. Because somebody thought about that 100 years from now, and I'm still living off that.
That's right. We were just talking about the legacy of the 30s and the
Exactly.
40s. I mean, it's made all the difference in the world.
It
We live in a
has.
very different country because of it.
You know, just quickly, because we got about 5 minutes left. Let's talk about some of the challenges that not the party, but working people in this country face.
Well, I can start by saying they're legion, I'm afraid. You know, I would say that right now money has more power than ever before. I mean, we make the Gilded Age look quaint. You know, I mean, the Gilded Age is nothing compared to the kind of wealth that we have.
And just for people watching, the Gilded Age is the 1890s, 1900s, when the robber barons controlled monopolies in this country.
That's right.
Okay.
It's so. I mean, I think we need to look at that for obvious reasons. I see I mean, you take a look at the recession, the Great Recession. I mean, the Great Recession happened. We are told that there has been a recovery, but you talk to working people and they're not feeling like they have recovered. You know, I mean, we still have houses that are underwater. We have people that can't afford health care. I mean, the worst, access to health care is a big deal. I mean, when you have people that, you know, are sick in the worst possible state and they have problems getting access to health care, I mean, that's a real problem. I mean, to have money problems on top of being...
You shouldn't get sick and go bankrupt at the same time.
Exactly. And I mean, I know, you know, Obamacare, I leave some of that, absolutely. And so, again, we're not certainly not going to bash that at all. But what we see is we have states, Republican governors refusing to expand Medicaid. So, you know, everything, healthcare, education. You have young folks in their 20s that have moved back in with their parents. They can barely afford their student loans, let alone get a job that pays them enough to pay their bills. I mean, you don't see young folks going out there buying houses in the same numbers you used to. They don't have the spending power anymore.
And a high school degree, I mean, a college degree is what a high school degree was to our generation. You had to have a high school degree. Now you got to have a college degree. But we don't enable, you know, we make kids go bankrupt getting a college degree.
When Franklin Roosevelt saved capitalism by using socialism back in the 30s, he built a safety net for people that working class could grow and the middle class could grow, and that unions were allowed to organize. Because that pressure of working people kept putting pressure on, and he said, you know what, let's just let them, give them an out where they can put their energy so that, you know, they feel like they're getting something more. And the middle class grew, you know, because of that. If the people that are running this country today were back in the 30s, they would have sat on the working people until there was an explosion.
Yeah.
And Roosevelt saw that as an opportunity to allow people to avoid that explosion. You know, and what since those days, there's people in this country who have passed it on to their children to destroy everything that Roosevelt did in order to make things better for people in this country. And that safety net is being torn away. And you know, it's a sad situation because it's a safety net that we paid for. It's not like they call it an entitlement. It's not. I'm entitled to it because I paid for it. Yeah. You know, through my taxes, through my Social Security taxes, through my Medicare taxes. That's mine. I paid for it. And now they're trying to take it away from me. And that is that is the Koch brothers and a few others who have they got a target on it and they want to do away with it, and they've been trying to do this since Roosevelt died, and it's just something that's bugging them, that they want to eliminate all of this. And the destruction of the union movement in this country is going to be the destruction of the middle class. And we're seeing it come to people haven't gotten raises, and ever since Reagan was elected president in 1980, productivity's gone up and wages have gone down.
They've successfully divided working people based upon race and based upon, you know, and it's a shame. You know, we have to wrap up, but I really enjoyed this conversation. I respect the work you guys do, and I'm sure we'll be talking more informally in the future. And thank you both for the hard work you do working to help working families in America. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Thank you for having us on.
Tom.
No problem. Anytime, guys.